The following is a first-hand account of the gladiatorial games written by the Roman philosopher Seneca after attending them one afternoon. The experience left him shaken, and he wrote to a friend detailing the carnage he witnessed.
There is nothing as detrimental to good character as squandering one's time at empty spectacles. Vices easily creep in, disguised by the fleeting pleasure they offer. Why else do I confess that after attending such shows, I returned filled with greed, ambition, and a yearning for luxury? Worse still, these indulgences are accompanied by a chilling indifference, even cruelty towards my fellow man. Perhaps it's simply the company I keep. The other day I found myself at the midday games expecting a light-hearted diversion, some wit, sport, and a respite from the constant bloodshed. However, the experience was far from what I anticipated. Instead of playful competition, I witnessed a brutal display of carnage, far exceeding any previous violence I had seen. The gladiators were utterly exposed, their bodies offering no defense against the relentless thrusts of their opponents. Every attack found its mark. Astonishingly, the common people favor these lopsided spectacles over fair contests, demanding such exhibitions. It's no wonder. With neither helmets nor shields to deflect blows, skill and defensive maneuvers become meaningless, merely delaying the inevitable. Mornings brought the terror of being thrown to bears or lions, while afternoons saw these very spectators become the entertained. The crowd roared for condemned men to be pitted against each other, a perverse entertainment where the victor was simply reserved for another gruesome death. This was the sole release offered to the gladiators, a brutal fight to the death. The entire enterprise thrived on violence, with fire and steel the only motivators for these desperate men. There was no escape. The victor, inevitably exhausted and injured, was forced to fight again until he himself was slain. "Kill him! Flog him! Burn him alive!" the spectators roared. "Why is he such a coward? Why won't he rush on the steel? Why does he fall so meekly? Why won't he die willingly?" Witnessing such barbarity fills me with despair. Lucilius, my friend, I implore you, stay away from these games. Attending them risks either corrupting your own morals by succumbing to the bloodlust of the crowd, or incurring their hatred for showing any sign of revulsion. Therefore, I urge you, distance yourself from this spectacle. After witnessing such brutality, it all makes sense now. There was a condemned fighter scheduled for the morning games being transported with other prisoners in a cart. He feigned deep sleep, nodding his head so far forward that it became trapped in the wheel spokes. He then deliberately held his position long enough for the rotating wheel to break his neck. In this way, he achieved a form of escape through the very conveyance meant to deliver him to his death. This wasn't an isolated incident. During a staged sea battle, one of the barbarian fighters plunged the spear meant for his opponent deep into his own throat. "Why," he cried, "have I endured this torture and humiliation for so long? Why wait for death when I can choose it myself?" This act served as a powerful reminder that for some, death held greater honor than killing.
The midday executions, also known as the Ludi Meridiani, were especially brutal. It was not rare for those sentenced to death to kill themselves before the show to avoid the grisly death that awaited them in the arena. To prevent this, prisoners who awaited their fate in the underground rooms of the Colosseum were always closely watched by the staff working there. Legally speaking, Roman law did not determine which execution had to be inflicted, and the judge was free to choose the death penalty at his own discretion. Initially, the majority of people convicted to death were deserters, rebels, and fugitives, but later this punishment was extended to war prisoners, as well as other types of crimes. The list of crimes punishable by death was quite long. Treason, rebellion against the authority, destruction of crops, night theft, setting fire to a house, profanation of a temple, changing the borders of a field arbitrarily, and many more were reasons for a capital sentence. There was a wide range of Roman methods of execution. Some people were burned alive or crucified, while others were thrown to wild animals, obliged to impersonate characters of myths doomed to die, or even tortured and then killed in an attempt to reenact bloody historical events related to the origins of Rome. The two most common ways to stage such executions were to tie the naked criminal to a pole and leave him for the animals, or to let him or her run around the arena being chased by the wild beast. The final result did not change, but the audience preferred the latter because it was considered to be more spectacular. Grace was very rare for those convicted, and it was almost impossible to escape a Roman execution once judgment had been passed. As the midday executions came to an end, an attendant dressed as Charon, the ferryman of souls entered the arena to remove the corpses.